Just so fascinated about the geometry that we can discover about ourselves in looking into human design and biogeometry, sacred geometry and cymatics and all of these different modalities and sciences. It's quite fascinating when we can see the various strands of the fractals in which each of us have come in on. Imagine a crystal. Imagine a crystal, and this crystal shattering into trillions upon trillions upon trillions of pieces. And these pieces belonging to larger fragments of the larger whole, and down and down and down. You know, these pieces that came off pieces that came off pieces. That gives you a slight illustration of what this incarnation is all about. You see, each of us, each of the personality, the witness consciousness that is embodied, this consciousness that continues to reincarnate, as in continues to show up within a vessel, a biological vessel that we call the body. This consciousness known in human design as the personality crystal. That personality crystal rides in the body that belongs to the design crystal, or the Newtonian principle, the Newtonian expression of the totality. It's only a piece of the totality, a piece. We're so very, very, very taken by this physical realm, and so we should be, because this is the life that the body experiences. Notice, look, no body, no experience on this plane. No body, no experience on this plane, and especially the kind of experience that we have, this self-aware experience. As a crystal of consciousness, the personality crystal is the witness to the body's life in this construct we call reality, we call it existence. And so this construct that we're in has a very specific coding and programming to it. There's this very specific way in which it runs. And each of us, as far as the witness consciousness that has come into the design principle as well, because the design, which is the form principle is actually in both the physical and the personality. Now, the personality is not physical. It is not Newtonian. It is a quantum phenomena. Okay, that crystal is a quantum phenomena. It's always there. It is the very thing that is witness to the coming and going that we call life. The coming and going. So does it reincarnate? Yes. I mean, you get into that discussion and we'd be here all night. And we don't need to go into that right now, but we can certainly go into it if people are interested, comment on whether you would like to hear more about that. But as far as the true experience that we're having, it is of an infinite consciousness, to illustrate it, of a consciousness that is infinite in nature. Infinite in nature. Okay, that's probably a safer way of saying it. Okay, I'm not saying that it is infinite. It does not mean that it's infinite in nature, in the way that it comes across. It doesn't die or fade away like the body. Okay, the body consciousness is a completely different consciousness. It really is. But if you look at it, it knows how to breathe itself. It knows how to digest for itself. It knows how to continue the reproductive process for itself. There are very specific mechanics when it comes to Newtonian physics, right? The physical world, the physical reality that we're talking about. Then there's the quantum side, which is ever existent beyond time. So the physical Newtonian principles only work when there is the limitation of time there. the time, the boundary that is set, the container that sets the Newtonian structure principle is, that very essence of being itself, the form principle. We're getting to that form principle, and the personality side, it does have its own form, but it is not in this Newtonian style. It is not Newtonian, it is quantum in nature. It is quantum in nature. And that's probably closer when we say the infinite. That is in nature. It's kind of a natural expression, but we can't grasp what infinite is. Even when we think, oh, it's something that goes on forever, that's still, to your mind, only theoretical. Okay, so maybe we could say quantum, and that back to its very divine roots, it's everywhere all the time, all at once. And that would be the unified field, I guess. But even then, the unified field gives an err towards separate, so, whatever it is that this brain can conceive, because you see, our crystals of consciousness, our personality crystal can only truly perceive from its perspective, and its perspective is from the design form principle. Its perspective comes from the experience of the body. Okay, the perspective comes from the experience of the body. The personality, the witness consciousness is limited by the body. It's limited by the body. Its experience will be, excuse me, will be in accordance to the body. Okay, its experience will be in accordance to the body. Whatever the body experiences is what the witness consciousness is, all that the witness consciousness can be conscious really of. And then there's an inner form that takes place, a forming that takes place in the personality. But that is just, again, a realization of a form principle is another principle. It's quantum in nature. It's not defined by the physical. And so when you, on the personality side, are trying to define yourself as the body, well, you've gone off track. You are a personality, a witness consciousness, having an embodied experience. And that embodiment, the very container that is the body, has its own consciousness design principle. And it's 88 degrees prior to birth for the design calculations. 88 degrees, not 90 degrees. We wouldn't have the differentiation if it was 90 degrees. 88 degrees is enough off the right angle, that it doesn't just, it gives it more differentiation by being 88 degrees off. And so it doesn't take much, just like our DNA, it doesn't take much for us to mutate, to change. It doesn't take much for us to change and mutate at all. And in fact, the mutation that takes place in the codon, which is called histidine, that mutation, which is innovated by the solar plexus center, and the mutation that solar plexus center goes through. Now that's an energetic, think about it. That's an energetic mutation. Energetic mutation. That has a physical outcome. Okay? So the mutation that takes place within which is all to do with the positioning, the angles, the geometry, so many pieces to it. But it's all dependent on the qualities of the cosmos. The qualities, okay? And the quantities, because this is a Maya. The Maya means to measure, and so we're talking quantity, and then the other side is the reality, the truth, which is quality. And so everything that is illusory has a measurement, So we can measure it. And what we mean by illusory is that it is that there is no separateness, but we are measuring, and the mind measures all the time, measures things that appear to be separate from everything else, but everything is interconnected. It is the experience that we have through this physical body that allows us to differentiate and therefore actually even have an experience. It is only because we differentiate that an experience is possible. Otherwise, it would just be oneness, aware of oneness. It wouldn't even be that. It would just be awareness, aware of awareness. And it wouldn't even be that. It would just be awareness. And it wouldn't even be that. It would just be the most simplest thing. And that's where it goes in very, very well in line to end this rant. As I'm just sitting by the fire here, because it's a little bit cooler today, and I thought I'd have a talk. But the piece that we want to arrive at is that, this life is one to truly be cherished and honored and lived. Look at the fuss. Look at the incredible complexity that allows us to have this experience. I mean, it feels real. You know what I'm saying? The witness is witnessing the tasting and the touching, but it's the body that does the tasting and the touching and the seeing and the hearing. It's the body that does that. And it is the witness that experiences it. Our body is an interface for consciousness to know consciousness. It is an interface for consciousness to know consciousness. Again, as I was saying before, to finish this off, I say often, it's very simple to be happy. It's just very difficult to be simple. But think about this. As I said before, if we didn't have differentiation, all this complexity in that, we would not know, we couldn't know anything from anything else. If there was just awareness, that we would call that God. And because we think awareness of, that goes straight into the mind, drops us straight back into illusion again. Because it's still insisting on a this and that. That's how we can measure, because these are this and a that. There is a binary, so the consciousness has to be binary as well. Okay, there's a witness and there is the life. When we go back to that simplicity, then we truly understand that the absolute essence of the divine, of God, of the ultimate, of the universal principle, whatever we want to call it, that at its core, it is the most simple thing. So simple that it's not a thing. Think about objects. Can't have objects without something to be aware of it. If there's nothing there to be aware of an object, how can there be an object? Because the word be itself even insists awareness. Once you get this principle of the binary, wow, from there the whole universe truly opens up and the consciousness begins to expand and become more and more aware of the dream it has placed itself in. Well, I hope you enjoyed that talk on really what's about being simple, and knowing how to be simple is simply knowing who you are. Until next time, bye for now.